Hey guys, okay, so you guys have talked about this in your classes before, but we're going to do some review. We're going to talk about the Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas. Let's go. Okay, so while classical civilizations were still developing in the Mediterranean and Asia, advanced cities were starting to slowly develop in isolation in the Americas. So we've already talked about the Olmecs before, but we haven't really talked about the three major civilizations living in the area, known as the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayans. Okay? So let's talk about the Mayans first. So the Mayans are going to have this society, which again, most societies we talked about have some sort of a class system. In the Mayans, they're going to have at the very bottom peasants, and then when you work your way up, next level is the merchants and artisans, then you've got the warriors, then the nobles and priests, and finally at the top, the king. Okay? So the Mayan religion was really interesting. They were polytheistic, and the way that they would worship their gods were offering them blood, food, and sometimes human sacrifices just to please the gods. This is pretty brutal. As far as technology, they invented a writing based on pictures called glyphs, and an accurate 365-day calendar, as well as advanced temples. So around 800 AD, they mysteriously declined, perhaps due to warfare among Mayan city-states and over-farming. But this is a weird conspiracy, and this is like, you guys love your conspiracies. I do too. I think it's pretty cool. Mayans, the last thing on their, so that 365-day calendar they created, they had the calendar going all the way and then had it landing on December 21st, 2012. And all of a sudden it just ends. Thousands and thousands of years in advance, they planned all these different days, and then they just stopped on that day. And people are not sure why they did that, and it's still a mystery. And they, after that time, like, once they did that, they started to disappear, so we never really got an answer. So who knows? Maybe that's why we have the Mandela effect. Maybe they just all died off of starvation. I don't know. But we did not die in 2012, and that's what matters. So there you go. Okay? So meanwhile, you had so after the Mayans, you also had the Aztecs, which were developing in present-day Mexico. Okay? So around 1200, these Aztecs are going to arrive in Mexico and built their city, Tenochtitlan. I know I probably butchered that. I apologize. In 1325. So Tenochtitlan, right? So within the Aztec Empire, they formed this massive empire that they controlled through 38 different provinces. Think of those as kind of like states. Okay? And they would receive tribute or money and donations from conquered people as they would continue to expand the empire across Mexico. So as far as their economy, they survived on different monies that they were getting, as well as farming, and they built these things called floating gardens, which are also called in Spanish tinapas. Okay. And as far as the society goes, at the top you had the kings, then the nobility, then the commoners, and then at the bottom slaves. Okay. So as far as the Aztec religion goes, they worshipped many gods. They were polytheistic, particularly the sun god, and they would make thousands of human sacrifices each year. So again, lovely people here. This is a great picture of a dude slicing this dude's like stomach up. Pretty nice. Okay. So as far as technology, just like the Mayans, the Aztecs developed this accurate calendar and built really advanced temples. And the Aztecs had these sunstones that had a lot of information, so they would be able to tell time based off of looking at the sun. And around 1500 AD, they began to decline. A century of brutal rule over the provinces and millions of human sacrifices began to lead to revolts. So people started fighting within the empire just because you're having all these things. People are like, maybe we shouldn't keep killing people. But the other thing that was probably a little bit more realistic for the decline is you had colonization coming to the New World, and people were coming bringing diseases, and those diseases are going to spread all throughout the Aztec Empire, and that's going to eventually destroy the empire. Okay, so while the Aztecs were ruling Mexico, our last one we're going to talk about is the Incas. And they began to dominate the area of the Andes Mountains in South America. And a lot of these cities like Machu Picchu and Cuzco were built in the mountains. So they're more mountain people. Okay. So for the government, like the Aztecs, the Incas built this vast empire that had 80 different provinces, again, kind of like states. But those Incas are going to rule with tolerance and are going to unify their empire by building roads, schools, and a common language within the Incan Empire. Okay? As far as their economy goes, government controlled the economy and required all citizens to farm for the good of the empire. So a portion of what you made from farming would go to help the rest of the empire. So basically you're all sharing and working together. And then as far as society goes, at the top you had the king, then the nobility, and at the very bottom the aiolu, which were the commoners. As far as the religion goes, they were polytheistic and offered llamas and food, but not humans to the gods. So that's very important. Unlike the Aztecs and the Mayans, the Incas did not kill people in the name of the gods. So that's good. We like the Incas. They're pretty cool people. And as far as technology goes, different innovations included the quipu, which means a means of record keeping involving these different knotted ropes. So they'd be able to tell what year it was based off of the ropes and like the different knots that you would make. And they create this extensive system of roads and suspension bridges. So again, a lot of how we know about the historical stuff is from their good means of record keeping. Okay. So in the 1520s, a civil war is going to divide and weaken the empire. And then after that, again, you've got these different conquistadors, particularly from Spain, that are going to conquer the empire. And the diseases that they're going to bring and the guns, it's just going to destroy the entire empire, basically. And that's all I have for you guys. So I'll see you guys next time.